Hi everyone, my name is Nailaki. Today I'll be discussing with you guys about personal development. Now, first I want to start off with my own personal background on this subject. I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother used to always remind me to focus on my personal growth because it was my protection through phases of life. Now, my grandma, in her past, she has dealt with a lot of bad trauma and bad experiences, and she used personal development to discipline her mindset into aligning itself in the right path. So, after doing research on articles and magazines, I'm here to give you guys tips on how to improve your own self development. Now, first, I want to start off with communication, which is the main thing that you need to practice on when it comes to improving your self development. You have to remind yourself that this is a skill. When I first started working at my fast food job, I had this mindset where I was going to go in and I was just going to be the best worker ever. Like, I was excited. And when I actually got in that position, I got nervous. I wasn't communicating. I wasn't talking to my coworkers on the problems that I would encounter, or the problems that I would encounter with the customers. Like, it's always best to remind yourself that this is a skill and practice makes perfect, which goes on to my next tip, that you have to practice this regularly. Sorry. So what I mean by this, I mean, like, it's plenty of ways that you can communicate. You can communicate on the phone. You can communicate while, before you send a message, just proofread to make sure that you don't make any more mistakes, or with the essay, you make sure that you don't have any more mistakes. Like, always practice any type of communication skill to get your word out clearly, to make the other person understand on the topic that you're discussing with them. And number 3, always ask when you need help. Now, this is very important because personally, in my experience in working in fast food, I've always struggled with communication because I was very nervous. It was a lot of pressure, and I tend to always be stuck in the weeds. And that just means that you go through a lot of problems and you just don't say anything. So, when you need help. So, as I started asking people for help, I started getting better. My technique started being amazing. And ever since then, I've been improving on how I communicate towards people in customer service. So it's always best to follow these 3 tips on communication, because that is the first step with self-development. Now that I've talked about communication, I will go on to adaptability. So adaptability just means to adjust into a new environment, to new things, new opportunities. So the first tip on adaptability is to always be prepared to step out of your comfort zone. Now, when I worked, like, I'm going back to my first example, when I worked at fast food, I had to get out of my comfort zone because there was one position, which was drive-through, and I was terrified of it. And I was placed in a position where I didn't really have to do drive-through. So I began to get comfortable. So as I got comfortable, I tend to always focus on my one position. So when they placed me in drive-through, it was horrible because I got comfortable in the position that I was in. So when I got into drive-through, it kind of changed everything. So this goes on to my next tip, is to force yourself to take risks. Always discipline your mindset to doing something that you need to do. If you want to do something, go out and get it. No matter what the task is, how hard it's going to get to, always force yourself and push yourself to take that next step into going into a new journey, because you never know where it will take you. And going on to my third tip is change your thought process. Don't always have that mindset where it's just like, oh, that's what we do all the time. No, always want to have the mindset on wanting to experience new things, expanding your mindset. That's what college is all about, finding out what you're major in, what do you want to be when you grow up. It's really important to change your thought process and expand to learning and experiencing new things. And that my fourth tip actually goes with my third tip when it comes to change your thought process. So it says learn how to stretch yourself, learn how to expand your mindset, learn how to want and force yourself and push yourself to want to do new things, because you never know where it will take you. Now that I've discussed adaptability, I will go on to integrity. Now, I was reading an article by Todd Simmons. It was called The Integrity. It's a book, and it was a quote that I seen that actually caught my eye, and it says, talk to the people around you to get a handle on your integrity. So this actually caught my eye because he's basically talking about hanging with the wrong crowd. Now, in my own personal background, I've always struggled with hanging out with the wrong crowd. So, it kind of makes your life a little bit bad because it leads you into the wrong path. So he wants you to focus on hanging with those that are positive, that are going to bring positive energy. And this goes to my next tip when it says hang with those who are on the same journey as you. It's very, very, very important to hang out with people that are on the level and on the journey of improving themselves instead of taking 10 steps backward. So I always will encourage people to hang around those, listen to those who are motivational, who are inspirational, who want what's best for you, who want to make you learn new things. I feel like you should always surround yourself with that because it actually makes you into a very humble person. And that shows a lot of integrity. And my third tip is this is not a solo game. So this goes on to the other tips because I don't want anybody thinking that they can handle life alone. It's always best to have other people with you because it's hard. Life gets very difficult, and personal development, it all starts with these three things: communication, adaptability, integrity. It's really important to know that this is not a solo game at all. Life gets hard. It hits you really hard. You go through all these phases of life where you feel lost. So it's always best to know that this is not a solo game and you need to go out there and, make new friends, meet new people to help you and lead you into the right path. So now that I've explained communication, adaptability, and integrity, I now will be going on to my conclusion. And I just want to say that personal development helps improve our lives and aligns us in the right direction. And my encouragement to you guys is to always practice communication, adaptability, and integrity to enhance your skills. And thank you for listening to my presentation.